So Snow White and the Huntsman is one of those gothic fairy tale adaptations of Snow White. It stars Kristen Stewart, as Snow White, Chris Hemsworth as the Huntsman, Charlize Theron as the Wicked Queen, and the seven little dwarves are all ridiculously famous, but there's a lot of them.
Yeah. Ian McShane, Bob Hoskins, Nick Frost, Toby Jones.
Yeah, they're all these big old A-lister guys.
Yeah.
Directed by Rupert Sanders, and this looked like it was like his first one. I mean,
he's done nothing.
No, this guy.
I know.
Some guy's just like.
I'm thinking maybe music videos. I don't know.
No, there's one of those. Somebody out there saw him do something and said, "Okay, let's just give him a
commercial work or something.
Give him
like
a big old blockbuster movie. Why not?" So this is the Snow White tale. It's done in a little bit more realistic sense, but the magic is still there. It's still got Charlize Theron is an evil queen who is got plenty of magic. She keeps herself. She's like really old, but she keeps herself youthful by stealing the youth of the children. And she has a magic mirror, which may or may not actually be magic. I'm still working on that. And she's got a brother that helps her out, who's a weird albino guy. But she, of course, marries into Snow White's family, takes over the regency, kills off, and then locks Snow White up for 15 years. And then the mirror all of a sudden goes, well, Kristen Stewart is now of age, so she's prettier than you. So Charlize Theron's like, oh, I gotta kill her. And then she magically escapes that same day and gets lost in the magical forest, and it's very magical forest. Trips out on acid. Chris Hemsworth has to hunt her down, and and then they fight the giant army, and I think there's a troll.
At some point, there's a troll.
There's a troll. Yeah. But yeah, then they get a big army to go fight Charlize Theron. I thought this was pretty much your run-of-the-mill blockbuster kind of take on things. Yeah, Brothers Grimm kind of comes to mind. Like, oh, let's make a dark fairy tale. And I'm like, okay. Kristen Stewart butchered this movie. She has to give like 2 rousing speeches, and the whole time you're cringing and like, where you realize you're just, Chris Hemsworth clearly can do better. Charlize Theron carried this thing. Oh my goodness, she can play evil. Pretty awesome. I was just like, at some point I was like, because Kristen Stewart's so bad, Charlize Theron comes off as overacting because you're just like, she's too good, and it does not fit the movie. The special effects are good. I actually have to admit the actual plot and watching this is great. I was kind of glad I went to it. I actually gave it a B because I was thoroughly entertained. I mean, as awful as this is put together, because first-time guy is clearly not going to do his best work. But it's still just clicked. I mean, that's probably why people want to watch This Means War. It's got everything you want. It's got big army battle sequences. It's got some teenage heartthrob.
Kind of a vague Twilight love triangle.
And then it's an excellent villain. Plus it's a timeless tale. You can't go wrong with timeless tales. So yeah, B.
Okay, I agree-ish. I give it a B-. I think pretty much what saves this movie is Charlize Theron chewing it up as the evil queen, and the special effects and production design of the whole thing. I think the movie looks great. If this guy, that's why it wouldn't surprise me if he came from commercial or music video or something like that, because the artifice is pretty impressive. The creature effects, all the CGI, and there's plenty of it, all really nice. I think there is some weird balancing between how realistic is this supposed to be, how magical is this supposed to be. It seems like the movie has a hard time deciding that, because it starts out almost kind of like a revisionist version of it. It's like, we're going to take it more seriously. Then it gets more magical as the movie goes. I was pretty much able to kind of go with it, but it did seem like the movie maybe had some script issues that they were trying to fix during production. Kristen Stewart is pretty bland in here. I think this is an example of just because somebody's famous at the moment does not mean that they are the best choice for the role. A la Keanu Reeves in Dracula.
Keanu Reeves in anything except for Bill and Ted.
But Yeah, so I would have liked to see somebody who could carry their acting weight a little better against Charlize Theron and Chris Hemsworth, who I think both do a pretty good job, and all these dwarves played by this popular British cast. And I think the story is kind of it basically goes from Snow White and turns into just a Messiah story, a chosen one.
It was very Joan of Arc-esque.
Yeah. Well, or even, vaguely Star Wars or vaguely, and
it had a Star Wars. Yeah, there was a Star Wars part. I'm like, you stole that.
Yeah, or there's some Lord of the Rings in there. It's basically just kind of a Joseph Campbell sort of rehash of that type of mythology, and it's unfortunately. I mean, you could say the same thing about John Carter. You could say the same thing about Last Airbender. Unfortunately, this is the only way Hollywood knows how to tell a fantasy story is through these chosen one stories, and I'm getting a little tired of that. And it would be interesting to see a different approach. For as messy as what was that movie? The Golden Compass. As messy as that movie was, and as many problems as it had, at least it was a little kind of more original as far as that aspect of the story goes. But yeah, it's fine. I think it's totally unremarkable, but totally unoffensive. I give it a B-. I think if you're going to the theater, try to get out of the heat, you'll more or less like what you have here.